Hello, Eagle Nation. This is your boy coming at you with a video that is quite different than most than all videos that I made. As you can see right before you, that is the Philadelphia Eagle flag, a team that I believe in for 41 years. Now, what I got to speak to today pertains to Nelson Aguilar being compared um, to Jalen Rager. Let me get that correct, Jalen Rager. But this video is not really pertain to that, but I'm gonna speak upon that in a few minutes in the video. So, um, there has been a lot of news going on about Howie Roseman, GM of the Philadelphia Eagles, and talking down to one particular player, and I'm talking about Jalen Rager. Now, I'm not Jalen Rager. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts. Let me get that correct. Jalen Hurts. We already spoke about Rager, but I can talk about him again in the video since I already broadcast him on the video. Who I'm about to really talk about is Jalen Hurts. Now, all of the news, social media, NFL Network, ESPN, the newspapers, yada 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 yada, saying that Howie Roseman is less confident in Jalen Hurts. Now, need I mind you, you were the one who drafted him back in 2020. Need I remind you, you were the one that drafted him. You drafted him to try to push Carson Wentz into panic mode. When you bought that guy, when you bought Hurts here to the Philadelphia Eagles, you really didn't think that the fan base was going to be more concerned about this? Did you really think that we were not going to talk about this, or did you really thought that it wasn't going to be thought about into the proceedings of being discussed by the fan base across the country and the world? Need I mind you? Now, it's a shame that you bought him here to push Carson Wentz, like I said, into panic mode, and you put that head over that boy's shoulders. And that's one reason why Carson Wentz is not here now, because you drafted a quarterback that is more athletic than him and probably more skilled than him. You are the reason why we drafted Nelson Aguilar. You the reason why we drafted Jada Whiteside. All these guys that you drafted that wasn't particularly good in the first place. But I'm gonna stick with Hurts right now. I'm gonna stick with Hurts. I'm gonna give it them guys later on in the video. I thought I get to discussing the situation with Hurts. Now, if you guys remember back to 2010 or 11, John Elway drafted Tim Tebow. He got Tim Tebow. Now, how can you draft a guy who cannot throw a lick of a pass? Well, he can throw a pass, but they're more short intermediate routes, passes to tight ends, wide receivers, running backs out of the backfield to get first down. Now, he did all that at the University of Florida. He didn't throw any deep balls, because that was not his strength. His strength was the short passes. And if he did throw a long ball, it was no more than 10 yards. He can't throw a 45-yard or 50-yard bomb like Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, Carson Wentz. He ain't thrown quite a few deep balls, you know what I'm saying? So Hurts is not that kind of a player. It takes time. It takes time and maturity to become a player like that. Let's go back to Lamar Jackson, first round draft pick by the Baltimore Ravens almost 4 years ago. He couldn't throw a lick of a ball. He couldn't throw a 25, 30-yard or 40-yard bomb. It took that boy 3 years to mature into the player that he has become now. 3 years. Jackson can now throw a 45, 50-yard bomb down the field. It takes time to mature like that. So you can't really just think that Hurts is going to start throwing 45, 50-yard bombs automatically because he tried that before. And every time he had tried that, the balls were either batted down or intercepted. Let's go back to the New York Giants game. Remember now, he was at the 30-yard on the New York Giants side of the field. He was 30 yards. The boy threw 25 30-yard bombs twice. Twice to Jalen Rager. And of those 3 balls that he tossed to him, 2 of them were knockdowns or miss. When on the other side, you could have tossed that ball to Smith, who was right there at the 10-yard line and could have sprinted the extra 9 yards for score. But instead, you want to put all the blame on Hurts. You can't do that because this is a team game, a team effort. If one guy fails, the whole team fails. It ain't just one player. You can't put one finger at one player. You can't do that. That's not the NFL. That's the way it's supposed to work. It could work that way, but if it worked that way and you get the pointing fingers, you're going to have a big argument in the locker room. You're going to have player against player, and that's where the losses mounds up to. That's what it mounts up to. When you point fingers, arguments begin, and then players ain't gonna want to work with that player no more. So it's gonna cause a whole bunch of confusion, and it's gonna cause problems in the locker room, like I mentioned, and it's gonna start feuds. That's not what you want in your locker room. So for Howie Roseman to even point the finger at Hurts, he's wrong for that. Now Hurts is a big man. The man has heart. He ain't gonna just put the blame on the team. He will put the blame on himself. That's the maturity factor. Now, then go back to some of the coaches that we've had in the past who preached the same situation. I take full responsibility for this. I took full responsibility. I mean, the same old record, stretch after stretch after stretch. You're doing the same thing to what John Elway did years ago. You're pointing your finger at Hurts, and you're wrong for that, Howie. You're wrong for that. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Hurts is a winning quarterback. The guy came from 2 winning programs. Take notice to that. If you look at when he was with Alabama, if you look at when he was at Oklahoma, he didn't throw 45, 50-yard bombs. He threw the short intermediate routes for first downs. That's what he needs to be good at. That's what he needs to be doing. He can't be throwing balls 45, 50-yard passing down the field. He can't do that because that's not his strength right now. The man's strength is grabbing the rock and running with it. That's what he's good. That's what he's good at. You got a good quarterback. You got an athletic quarterback that can make plays. Give him the opportunity to make plays where he can win you football games. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. The Giants came in with a good defensive plan. They stacked 6, 7, and 8 men fronts in the box to stop Hurts from running the rock. And they did a magnificent job. So we can't really blame the loss against the New York Giants because the Giants played their part. They actually laid the foundation for teams to look at the film and do exactly what the Giants did. The Giants contained the run. The Eagles couldn't run the ball for nothing, but they should have stuck with that formula in the first place. Had they done that, we would have won the football game, and this wouldn't even be a topic for discussion. It wouldn't be a topic for discussion. It wouldn't be. But instead, you want to point fingers all because of one loss to the New York Giants. You want to point fingers at Hurts and put the blame on him. Remember, you're the one drafting him. So if anybody deserves a fault, it's you, Howie Roseman. You drafted the guy. It wasn't Peterson. Peterson didn't make the draft boards. He didn't make the draft list of players to draft, in first round, second round, third round selections. He didn't do that. That was you, Howie Roseman. You already got this situation now where us fans don't trust you because you are not a good draft expert. It's self-evident now. Only thing you're good at is getting the contracts mailed out to players that you think that deserve to be on this team. That's all you're good at. You good with the dividends or ducks, however you want to call it. You good with the contracts, and that's your memo. That's what you need to be sticking with. You shouldn't be sticking with pointing fingers at players and drafting players. That's not your memo. That's not what you're good at. Look at the last 5 years. All the players that you drafted in the first, second, and third rounds. They wind up either going to other teams playing better, or they wind up being busts. And in my opinion, the players that you drafted, Razul Douglas, that go to the other guy, the cornerback who the Eagles wanted in the first round, but wound up breaking his knee, and then played none in the first year of the season, but played in the second year. I can't think of his name. He played at the University of Washington. You let him go, and now he's playing real well at another team. You know what I'm saying? So that's right there are two prime examples right there of why some teams, some players don't want to be here. Want to be here in Philadelphia. You're the reason why. You're the reason why Carson Wentz left. Cause Wentz went out. Cause Wentz they want have anything to do with you. It ain't Jeffrey Lurie. It ain't the coach. It ain't the rest of the coaches. It ain't Doug Peterson. It ain't the players. It's you, Howie Roseman. You're the reason why players do not want to be here. You're the reason why. Had these players stayed with the team, we wouldn't have the record that we have now. But instead, you want to point fingers at one particular player, and you're wrong for that. That's cowardice. So to me, you are a coward in the front office, and that's what you need to be considered as the front office coward, the FARC, front office coward. That's what I see you as. You ain't nobody special. And I don't understand why Lurie still has you there as the GM. We have had better GMs in the past. You should have stayed a low-level vice president. That's what you should have been. You should have been a low-level assistant. That's what you should have been. Cause that's what I see you at. You are. To me, you still that low-level assistants who've been promoted to GM after the other GMs have left. The Eagles have had 3 good GMs. The only GM that I still have an issue with is the one who did not sign Brian Dawkins to a long-term contract. I forgot that GM name, but you were under him at the point. But when he left, you became full-time GM. Well, actually, you became an intern GM before you became full-time GM. And yet, you haven't learned from that guy. You are so dumb and sticking to your nuisance to a point where you think you can make better draft decisions than the rest of the draft organization or better draft staffs behind you. You think you're better. I see that in your video. You have a blank look on your face. You have one of the most ugliest blank looks I ever seen on a front office GM. I've seen better GMs with better looking faces. Some even smile when losses. Some smile when they win. You don't smile or grin at all. So I don't. You are predictable and you are readable. It's just that you have an issue with pointing fingers at players who don't associate with you, probably don't even ever talk with you at this moment. So for you to be pointing fingers at one particular player, boy, you are a coward. And so I feel I need to get that off my chest because I've been reading reports and hearing about the situation, and I'm really tired of seeing players getting pointed out at, and you just pointing him out. I mean, Hurts now know that you have no confidence in him. He knows this now, and so I mean, it's out. I mean, players read the papers, they read social media because social media is out there for everybody to see. So not only has he probably heard about that from some of the players or some of the front office people, it's in the papers and it's on social media. You don't think he knows this? Come on now, really, Howie Roseman? You could keep this in office. You couldn't keep it to yourself, and you could keep it in your own thoughts. I mean, you are a coward. You are a front office coward. You are a FOC, F-O-C. That's what you are to me. You are a F-O-C, front office FOC. Front office coward. That's what you are. And until the Eagles get rid of you, This team will not be better until you are gone. And at one point, I gotta admit, at one point I had confidence in you. It because not only for you the youngster you want a draft board, you can't draft at all. I only got confidence in you when you bring in good free agents and sign them to good contracts. Good contract that's good for the team, good for the player. That's the only confidence I have in you. But as far as uh, being a draft expert, I have no confidence in you being a draft expert because you are one of the worst draft GMs in all of football nation, in all of the NFL. You one of the worst, and teams know it. And if the Eagles do cut you or decide to let you go, I don't see you being a GM no time soon. I see you being a low level assistant, which is what you were before you became GM. Leave all your comments, like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, notification bell on top so when you see my video, you know it's coming directly from me to you. This is your boy, the Green Talents, coming at you. Hi, Roseman. You fuck! Front office coward. Adios. Ah!